Hans Wegner's influence on Danish modernism came from his revision of older designs and manufacturing processes. Wegner's chairs utilize prior practices and chair elements to create cohesive structures through the combination of the old and the new. In Wegner's own words, he was stripping the old chairs of their outer style and letting them appear in their pure construction. He took the form of the chair as the way it was, not trying to revolutionize the general structure. To Wegner, moving away from the basic form of 4 legs, a seat, and back was unnecessary, as throughout history, time and time again, there is the return to that classic form. Wegner said himself that 5,000 years ago the Egyptians made folding chairs and thrones in almost the same way as we do now, simply because it is the right way to do it. Wegner takes the classic chair and purifies it to its utmost utilitarian and simultaneously aesthetically pleasing form. Beginning as a carpenter, Wegner pulled from his experience as a craftsman and started designs with the question of what is the most practical and efficient way to produce this chair. From their origins, all of Wegner's chairs were focused around their construction. Wegner often mixed industrial process in the factory line with artisanship and relied on one process or the other more heavily depending on what was required by the chair in question. He refined the production process for each chair by pulling from the techniques of the past and not entirely dismissing artisanship, finding a place for it in his production process. The varied nature of his chair's production as being batch or industrial was evidenced in 1950 when a club purchased 400 round chairs from Wegner. Yet, this request was initially denied as it took years to produce that large of a batch. As time went on, Wegner moved more and more towards designs that could be produced with more industrial processes. Even Wegner's choice of wood as his main material shows his focus on improving what was already available. He said, "It was not possible to work with solid wood and with laminated construction at the same time. I chose wood." While Eames and Panton and others experimented with new and synthetic materials, Wegner largely stayed loyal to wood. There's a strong tie between the ideation of Wegner's work and the Shakers, who also used natural materials and built well-made and cost-effective furniture. Wegner said, "I like to make something that is simple to produce, uses the correct materials, and can be bought by everybody." The Shakers had the right idea. Their furniture is light, simple in construction, and easy to make. A perfect example of pulling from the past and refining is Wegner's treatment of joints and his dedication to take a part of the chair that is often hidden or seen as a weak point and perfecting this element, making the joints flawlessly functional and beautiful. By taking from past forms of joinery, Wegner refined his joints and made them more present in his designs. Many of his chairs feature joints that accent the aesthetics of the design and are in no way blemishes, whereas the pedagogy of the past often worked to hide any joints. In looking for inspiration for the Chinese chair, Wegner stated that he saw a chair with its top rail and arms in a single piece, but without the back forming a board, so that the sitter can move more freely on the seat. Wegner did not invent this characteristic, but utilized it heavily simply because it worked. As Wegner said himself, his work was a continuous process of purification, for me, of simplification, to cut down to the simplest possible elements of 4 legs, a seat, and combined top rail and armrest. Similarly, Wegner's wishbone chair, his most popular design, has its origins in the Chinese chair while maintaining its individuality. It was the combination of his own innovations in design with prior practices that created Wegner's timeless works of art. Looking at his collective work, the theme of pulling from the past is clear even in Wegner's production process, use of materials, and forms of joinery. His utilization of pulling from the past to create something refined and new was repeated over and over again throughout his designs.